Welcome to the Entrepreneurial CPA Show. We take a deep dive into knowledge you need out there to break free of the box and become that world-changing entrepreneur we know that you really want to be. And as always, what are we going to do? We're going to hit you up with the theoretical and practical skills, little yin and yang, you need to punch above your weight. I'm Garrett, coming to you with the practical side. That's my deal. That's why I stick over there. I stick in my lane. And we've got the real estate titan, the master of the theoretical, the man that has no limits, Dr. Sean.
Thanks for that, Garrett.
As always, today's show is brought to you by some of our sponsors. Prolera, remind you that CPE doesn't have to be a grind, nor should it. Hayden Rock Solutions, working to provide you the roadmap to advisory services. And you always check out our other show, A Look into the Future, with them on a regular basis. And Accounting Fly. If you're a firm looking for help in hiring or a job candidate looking for that next job, they can help you out. Now, Dr. Sean, I think today we just had this conversation offline in the prior recording.
Yep.
Let's talk about this big trend of working remotely. What does it mean for firms? Why should we do it? What does it look like? Because I can tell you, one of the things I noticed when I was speaking in the fall of 2019 to a bunch of accounting conferences, I got a lot of questions from firms on like, well, should I work remotely? And okay, the answer is yes. Like, how do I do it? Like, what do I do? And sometimes the questions are rather like basic, like,
yeah.
Oh, can I talk to someone? Can I communicate with someone that doesn't like live in the office? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I talk about you. I'll be like, me and Dr. Sean have a great relationship. I believe so, hopefully. But like,
yeah,
as you and I know, like, how often in a year are we physically in the same spot?
2 or 3 times max.
Max, and that's usually for what, a couple hours, an hour?
Yeah.
Or,
yeah.
So you can. I mean, I think we're proof. You can have a relationship with someone, get to know them, without having to sit at the water cooler every day.
Yeah, absolutely right. You know, and to sort of add to that, Garrett, there's a whole conversation about working remotely, telecommuting, flexible hours, and all that stuff. These aren't new questions, right? These have always been trends, right? There have always been people that have come into the office 2 days a week, 3 days a week. I mean, so the whole issue of how to manage people who aren't always there isn't really the issue right now, right? So the issue here is how to manage a whole firm or a whole team of people who aren't ever there, or who are only there once a quarter for a week, or sort of once a year for the annual meeting. And really sort of that comes down to, I think, right, you know, because the tools are there. There's Zoom, Skype, Slack, I mean, a whole other suite of tools out there to help folks. Yeah, phones, you can FaceTime if you have to. I mean, there are all kinds of tools and apps.
I love that. If you have to, like it's a bad thing, like, oh.
If you have to, yeah. But I mean, sort of the tools are there, right? And they're easy to use, really. And so it really comes down to, I think, how to make sure that you're hiring the right people who have the right work ethic and the right mindset to actually work and to keep working, even if they're not in the office, right? And I do think that's probably the biggest one hurdle out there, is to how to sort of get this process started, and then how to build a framework and a system in place to help keep everyone on track.
Yeah, you know, most firms out there are seeing problems with they don't have enough people. You know, they've got a great talent shortage. How do they solve it? Remote workers, gig workers, flexible workers. And yeah, I think with your thing, find the right people, and then how do you build that framework? Sometimes it's don't make it super complex.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most basic way, like us, like we have work conversation. We might meet for an hour, and we might have 50 minutes of work conversations, but we always have maybe like 10 minutes of interpersonal conversations.
Sure.
And instead of it being over the water cooler, we just kind of weave that in to the work conversation. That's okay. You kind of got to blend the two, because the worst thing we don't want to do is make it 100% work with remote people. And then there's no connection. They don't know who you are. You don't know who they are.
Exactly.
And you're wondering like what they're doing. Spend some time. Ask them questions about what's going on. You know, ask them questions. Not like we do. Just have a normal human being conversation with someone not physically there. I guarantee you've done that over the phone before.
Yeah.
Why don't you just try it over video?
No, and so, I mean, Garrett, that's an excellent point, right? The core message here is to be human, right? Is to be a actual person, right? To not be some 2D cut out work boss person, right, or work colleague person. It's important to have those extra facets and components that all make us honestly more interesting, right? I know John Garrett is a perfect example of this, right? His podcast now it's changed names, right, from the Green Apple to the What's Your End podcast or show. But on that show, I mean, he does exactly that. Like he'll have folks on. I've been on. You've been on. I mean, hundreds of folks have been on. All of us working in audit, tax, advisory, higher ed, and all of us have those work selves, right? But his show, the entire concept is to bring out those other components, those human components, whether it's bike riding, playing the drums, doing any of those external things that do actually make us more human. I mean, bringing those into the remote working conversation is super important.
Yeah, that's really one of the best ways for remote workers is just have human interactions and conversations with people like you would if you were there. You don't need to force it. You don't need to schedule, hey, Dr. Sean, let's talk every Wednesday at 3 o'clock to 3:30 about personal topics. But just be
that would be the worst.
Show interest in people, what they're doing, and what's going on. And if you can do that, a lot of the other semantical stuff you'll be able to deal with. Yeah. But that's the biggest piece. If you're not going to be a human being with them and treat them like human beings, you're not. It's never going to work because they're always going to be a robot to you, and you're going to wonder why they're not doing more. You're going to view them as nothing more than a disposable person, as a robot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, this whole conversation, it's only really just getting started, right? So sort of the topic has been around for decades, but I live right outside of Manhattan, right? And
you do? No,
I do. And I mean, there are days and weeks during the year where it's very difficult to get into Manhattan and to move around in Manhattan or any big city. It can be Houston, Dallas, LA, Seattle, Rochester, obviously a huge hub of people and of commerce and of moves. I mean, and so all of that stuff, those traffic and infrastructure and public transit issues are just amplifying this, right? I would much rather have my team have that extra hour back on both ends, be less tired, less aggravated, and more focused for me for even fewer hours, right? I would be more than happy to have my folks who are working remotely put in a 6-hour day of high quality focused work, and then have them sitting in the office for 9 hours doing work at half speed.
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes go to the office. The office is 30 minutes each way, and some days I'm like, I just don't want to go to drive to the office. Yeah. No, I don't want to spend 30 minutes in the car each way. I'm just not going in today. And I don't. It's nice to have that option versus. Yeah. And you get so used to that. You learn how to do it. And we'll do another episode diving in a little bit deeper to this. But for now, let's hone on your main point here. Be a human being. Yeah. And that'll solve a lot of the issues I see when I talk to firms about remote workers. Mm-hmm. Just be a human being. Treat others with respect and get to know them just like you would any other human being you'd come across. So thank you for tuning in today, having a little bit of a conversation about remote work and what it means to be a human being in the eyes of the immortal Dr. Sean. So if you got questions, how to get started, reach out to us, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever it is, we're here for you. You don't want to keep this learning going? So again, reach out to us. Join one of our entrepreneurial CPA groups. There's a link below. Wherever it is, we're here to help support you on your journey. And you want to stay up to date? You know the drill. Click to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And as always, we challenge you to take action today to change the world and invest in yourself.